Okay, this lecture is going to cover functional details, but a main part of that that designers really try to incorporate is if they're going to add a functional detail, it might as well have some type of aesthetic or contribute some type of decorative detail to it as well. So keep that in mind as we go through these slides. When we're talking about details being added to features of a garment, we want to make sure that it contributes to the overall appearance and the function of the garment. If you think about these two pieces here, this little crop jacket with the sequence, if the sequence detail wasn't added, the appearance and function would be completely different. The function of the garment could probably mean it would be wearable in more than one location, but since the sequins are on there, it gives it a very distinct look. Same thing with the maternity pants. When you're selecting details for a garment, you want to make sure that it is compatible with the style, the end use, and the fabric. And same thing with your functional details. You want to make sure that they are compatible with the style, end use, and the fabric, but that they're also serving a very specific practical purpose. And functional details will contribute to the durability, comfort, safety, convenience, and hopefully it'll give some type of aesthetic contribution to the garment. So, what are some things or details that serve as functional details in garments? The main ones that we'll be going over are reinforcements, loops, weights, occupational clothing details, performance features, children's apparel, and then some features for people with special needs. Reinforcements that we see in ready-to-wear apparel are the rivets. And basically, these are small little nail heads that are placed on openings, mostly of pockets, to help reinforce that seam. So here we've got it on this pocket opening here, on the waistline, and at the side seam, because there's a lot of pressure when you put your hand in and then take the hand back out or put something in there. Reinforcements. A good example that I like to give in apparel is like a steel toe. That kind of reinforcement will help with the functionality of the shoe, the longevity, support, so many other things. Additional reinforcements for horseback riders, there's padding on the back, and then there's also padding in between the thighs because there's so much abrasion and rubbing in those areas that over time the fabric will wear down. So there's reinforcement padding for support and safety. And same thing with the firemen's pants, they have padding on their knees in case they need to get down and crawl through an area. So that contributes to reinforcement and comfort and safety of the wearer. Other reinforcements, the elbow patches started out originally during the Depression era when people could not afford to buy an entirely new sweater. They would just take a patch and sew it over the elbow. As time went on, it became more of a fashion statement or more of a style. But this is another place that needs reinforcement because elbows, get a lot of wear, especially if you press it on a desk or you're constantly bending your arm. Loops are functional details that hold up belts on pants, hold up belts on sweaters or robes. And then you'll also see tiny loops inside of tank tops and dresses sometimes that will help hold the bra in place or are used to add additional loops to hang on hangers. Weights. Now, we've previously talked about weights in the queen's dress hems and how she has weights sewn into them to help keep her dress down. but it can also be used to control drape or shaping of a garment. So the functional purpose of this weight is to give shape to the cowl. But like we saw earlier, weights can also be used to hold down hems and give shape to a dress. Functional details for occupational features. Bulletproof vest is definitely a functional feature that is provided for specific occupations. Same thing with firemen's jackets and equipment. They have a lot of functional details. They've got the reflective gear, they have the fire retardant fabrics, they've got the helmets, they've got the padding. Other occupational features, a work belt has loops and it also has several pockets and holders. Over here, safety vests that are probably reflective, bright in color. I wouldn't say they're aesthetic, but they're definitely functional. For functional details in athletic clothing, the bottom opening of the pants here has got a zipper and Velcro for convenience and comfort. An athlete can easily just, zip up if they need a little more airflow. They probably have snaps all the way up the leg. They can easily take them off after warm up. Performance features on this jumpsuit could be reflective tape for running at night, or also maybe an opening down at the bottom. Biker shorts, this is a great example of comfort and convenience. So here, this sort of padding for the backside adds to comfort. And then here, if you look really closely, you'll see that there is a small pocket. And that's for convenience. You can just easily place, I don't know, a little snack or maybe your iPod in there. And I really like what the designer has done here because they've incorporated this pocket into the seam lines of the pant leg or the shorts. So I like how they've combined the functional detail and also made it somewhat aesthetic. Functional details in children's wear. Here's another good example of how designers incorporate functional details and aesthetics. So for this little jumpsuit on the right, we've got a cute little tie that acts as a closure. So it's a functional detail that is kind of cute. And they've got snaps around the bottom, easy to open and close. This one here on the left has got blue trim, and it looks like there's Velcro on the bottom and maybe Velcro on the sides. So they've used the blue trim as an aesthetic detail to make it sort of stand out, and then the Velcro for ease of opening and closing. A couple other examples of aesthetic and functional details in children's wear. If we look here on these white little pants, you can see on the bottom there's that small paw print. And what that paw print is it's plastic adhesive to help as a grip. And so they've combined the functional detail of, slip resistant bottoms and made it into a cute paw print. So it serves as both. It's cute and also functional. Same thing if you've got a little jumpsuit with mittens for the winter time. I don't have kids, so I can't personally speak to this, but I've heard a lot of parents say, I always lose my kids' gloves or their socks or whatever. And so some designers will incorporate ties to help keep the gloves attached to the body of the garment. Same thing with the hat or the hood. And lastly, features for people with special needs. If anybody is in a wheelchair, their pants will sometimes have a higher rise in the back to help accommodate for the sitting posture. And then obviously your maternity wear will come with special features. Here's an example of two different styles to approach maternity wear. You can do a side panel here, and then you could also choose to do a panel across the front. It just two different variations to accommodate pregnancy. Okay, and last, for Friday, 10/4, this upcoming Friday, I want you guys to bring in one clothing item that has a functional detail. It can be combined as functional and aesthetic, but you cannot use belt loops on jeans. I think that is too easy. So bring something else. Be prepared to share with the class what the functional detail is, and why it is used and why it is in that specific location.